Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between Tarson and MadFrog here on Blistering Sands. We have MadFrog spawning over here on the south side of Blistering Sands as the red Zerg player. Meanwhile, on the north side, we have Tarson spawning as the blue Terran. So this is going to be Terran versus Zerg here on Blistering Sands. I've been trying to find more Protoss versus Zerg and Protoss mirror and Zerg mirror matches. They've just been very, very difficult to find of high quality. Generally, for some reason, I don't get to cast as many mirror matches as I want to. There are a few Terran versus Terran, but I hear so much about Terran being overpowered that I just don't want to read those comments, and I end up trying to look for some Protoss versus Zerg, Protoss versus Protoss, Protoss versus, or Zerg versus Zerg, but was unable to find any. Back over here, we have Tarson, who had thrown down a 10 supply depot, and now should be throwing up some sort of racks in just a moment. Meanwhile, MadFrog did the 11 extractor trick, and after building that Overlord, so we'll be able to start mining up a little bit more quickly. We'll see if we get some sort of spawning pool, a 14 spawning pool, or some sort of 15, 16 hatchery. So MadFrog may try to go for that hatchery build. The hatchery build is a little bit of a gambit on this map, just because you're the Terran player may try to Reaper you, bunker Reaper you. And taking a look at this, it does look like he is going to be trying to go for that spawning pool. Yeah, there we go. Spawning pool now built right there, and now getting an extractor as well. So getting that early extractor will enable him to get that gas much more quickly. And after getting that gas, the metabolic boost and the metabolic training on those Zerglings will be huge. Back over here, we now see Tarson moving out with an SCV. SCV in order to get some scouting down and make sure that there isn't any sort of hatchery being placed down. If there is a hatchery, he may have tried to go for some sort of early harassment or try to do additional tech. Back over here, we do have the spawning pool and needing about 20 game seconds left as we are now mining up more and more gas. So as this happens, we should probably see a queen being trained in addition to maybe one Zergling, one or two Zerglings. I'm not 100% sure how that's going to work out. He may also try to do that extractor trick to get over 19 food. No, not going to do that extractor trick as the SCV now wandering around on the inside here. Overlord now in the air, able to provide additional food, and MadFrog no longer supply lock, sitting at 19 over 26. We are still getting more and more gas. Metabolic boost should be training up in just a moment. We'll see if MadFrog goes for that second queen, as we already have an early factory being put down. Marines now being trained up. So the Marine's going to go ahead and try to guard off this choke point here. I do not see a reactor or a tech lab being thrown down by this barrack jet, so that is a little bit of a surprise, especially when he's only going off of one gas. So a Terran using only one gas against a Zerg player. I'm assuming it's going to be Hellions, maybe some Marauders. But yeah, it's got to be a lot of Hellions, because that is a very, very mineral intensive strategy. Now moving around over here, SCV able to just barely slip by from those Zerglings. Those Zerglings will be able to catch up and start poking away at that SCV. SCV a little bit slower than those Zerglings without that metabolic boost. Metabolic boost now being trained. And now here comes one queen. So one queen now being trained up. There's already a second queen. Where is that second queen? Second queen moved off the creep for some reason. And now, so there's that creep queen now moving back on the creep. Now going to do a spawn larva. We should probably see a creep tumor now being thrown down, extending the creep around the map, allowing MadFrog, enabling him to really play a much more defensive game. One Overlord sitting over here outside that base, as now a group of 4 Marines running head on into this base. There is 2 queens in this position, so those queens will be able to deal with those units very, very easily. However, there is also one Hellion and one more Marine trying to bring up the rear. So how is this going to work out? Will those Zerglings be able to deal enough damage? The metabolic boost has just been completed. So now with a movement speed of almost 6, a second creep tumor now being laid down to try to speed up this whole entire build. One queen able to get off a couple quick hits. Now needs to pull back, otherwise may get taken down, and down it goes. But able to save that creep tumor, which was absolutely huge. Another queen coming over, and now in comes a little bit more fighting. Zerglings trying to take down these units over here. Zerglings now backing off, and this queen taking way too much damage. May get taken down to 20 hit points, 21 hit points, and still able to stay alive barely somehow. And wow, MadFrog doing a great job microing this whole entire fight there, and able to really survive with just Zerglings and queens. Both of those queens, however, very, very low on hit points, as we are now teching to Aspire and also getting a Roach Warren. We should probably see some sort of hatchery being laid down in just a moment, as MadFrog is sitting on a large cache of minerals. Back over here, Hellions and Marines, and we are finally going into, yeah, what I expected, Banshees. Banshees now being put down in order to try to hold off any additional attacks. I really like this front door by Tarson, just in case MadFrog was trying to do any sort of a Baneling bust. This is really going to be able to stop it, as Banelings are unable to really get through here. I do believe that Banelings, if they explode in the corner, can hit the supply depot behind them. I've seen it happen. It makes my heart sink how strong and how large the area blast is. 4 structures against with Banelings. Back over here, Spire nearing completion, creep tumors still being laid down, and for some reason not popping up in a new location. So a little bit of mismanagement coming in from MadFrog. There is already an Overseer Cocoon though, so the Overseer Cocoon now coming in. 1 Queen low on hit points. Are we gonna get a transfusion? Not enough for a transfusion just quite yet, and he spawned larvaed with the wrong Queen. This 1 Queen already down to 7 hit points cannot transfuse herself. So this 1 Queen is going to have to wait quite some time, and that was really, really bad miscalculation. This Banshee, however, is not going to be able to deal the damage that it wants to, and there is now no longer any cloak being researched. Hellions now moving out with Banshee as air support, so this is a very, very anti-ground army. Roaches will be easily taken care of by those Banshees. Zerglings will be taken care of by those Hellions. And now in come those Banshees. Banshees may be able to go off 1 or 2 hits and getting a couple rounds of attack there. That Roach not liking it, trying to pull back. I think 6 rounds of attack from a Banshee is able to take down a Roach, I believe. Back over here, 1 hatchery already very low on, or gonna get taken down to 500 hit points. May get canceled at the last moment as those Hellions just blasting away. Yeah, there's that drone, and there it goes, burnt to a crisp. Back over here, we do see these Hellions now trying to do a little bit of pressure, taking down a lot of these creep tumors. 1 Overseer now in the air trying to make sure that these Banshees do not cloak. And now Banshees now focusing down a lot of these Roaches instead. Roaches, however, getting taken apart. And now in come these Mutalisks. So 4 Mutalisks able to just turn the tides of that battle. No anti-air. And now, do we see any Thors being trained? Yes, we do already have a Thor being trained from the armory, but no missile turret. Down goes another Banshee from the focus fire of those glaive worms from those Mutalisks. But will this Thor be able to be constructed in time? It does not look like it. Only 1 tech lab. And yeah, this is not good, as another Marine now get taken down. We do have 1 medevac and a missile turret nearing completion. Will that missile turret... Oh, missile turret taking down the SCV first. This missile turret already down to 120 hit points, now being repaired. Down goes the SCV once again. And now this missile turret just tearing apart, and the timing was absolutely perfect. This Thor will be able to pop out in just a second, and 1 Thor versus 4 Mutalisks. Those Mutalisks will be having a hard day. Out comes this Thor, and Thor getting 1 round of attack, maybe 2 rounds. Will we get another one? Yeah, getting another round of attack off, but that Thor moves so slowly. Get another... No, not able to fire that final volley, and that Thor wasn't even able to take down that last Mutalisk, that very, very low Mutalisk. Back over here, MadFrog now doing a great job clearing these backdoor rocks. And as soon as these backdoor rocks are cleared, we'll be able to run very easily into this base. It looks like he stopped. No, Hellions are still on the map, so those Hellions will be doing a great job trying to deal with those Zerglings. There are Hellions up here. Do the Hellions have enough range? Yes, they do have barely enough range to try to take down some of those Zerglings. You got to remember that Hellions recently had their range reduced from 6 down to 5 again. I'm not sure if their splash damage goes the full distance. And in come some Roaches. Roaches now attacking at these destructible rocks will be able to be destroyed very, very easily. We do have 1 Thor sitting here. SCV trying to repair this medevac for those Marauders. And now these backdoor rocks have been cleared, and it's going to force Tarson to try to defend another wider choke point, I believe. Yeah, a wider choke point there. Zerglings now running around trying to make sure that there is not an expansion over here. And now MadFrog running off of 1 base, sitting on a large cache of minerals, sitting at 1,100 minerals, and still needs to produce an additional Overlord, and also building another hatchery within his own base. MadFrog not using these... Oh, the creep tumors are unable to continue to spread. There should be plenty of energy on these queens to transfuse and lay down more creep tumors. Zerglings now moving around as MadFrog unsure of what to do, it appears. He does have a lot of sight control on the map. He is causing the Terran turtle Terran player to turtle in his base, but with only Hellions to be trained, I'm not quite sure what exactly Tarson's going to be able to do. There is a very, very strong mech presence, but you got to also remember that Hellions are Hellions are also light units, so they also take additional damage from banelings. So if we ever see a baneling nest come out from MadFrog, MadFrog will be able to destroy those Hellions just like they were Marines. Back over here, we do see more Mutalisks now in the air, as we also see Zerglings trying to clear out these destructible rocks for this gold high-yield mineral location. One Overlord here should be able to get sight of the incoming orbital command. And yes, he's going to be able to get sight of that incoming orbital command. Oh, a changeling sitting right there, a little bit out of position. We'll see if Tarson recognizes it. Yeah, it does recognize it. That changeling quickly gets taken down, as we have the Overlord still sitting over here. So both players now just trying to macro up in their base. We do have siege tank research having been completed, and we are now getting the level 1 armor upgrade for Terran. So I really like this play. I think I would like it better if Tarson also had the Infernal Pre-Igniter research for these Hellions. Without the Infernal Pre-Igniter research, Zerglings, even though the Zerglings will take more time to try to destroy a Hellion, the Hellions will not be able to take down those Zerglings any much easier. Back over here, we do see the Roaches quickly taking down that SCV, so it's going to be a Roach Muta combo. So Roach Muta combo, not exactly sure how that's going to work, as we do see a Zergling sitting there. If those Zerglings run up that ramp, oh, Roach is now quickly trying to engage. Hellions now being forced to back off. We do have 2 Thors in position, and one round of attack between those 2 Thors, dealing a lot of damage towards those Mutalisks. Roaches, however, should be able to come in very easily and finish off this whole entire fight. Production-wise, we see Tarson now throwing down one extra turret here to try to help defend against these Mutalisks. The Mutalisks able to just move in and out. One missile turret with a very, very fast attack rate, able to deal a lot of damage. And now Roaches just going to simply ignore this army here. And now Tarson being forced to chase. Mutalisks now running into the base. Will it be able to get any significant SCVs damage? Down goes this supply depot here, as those Roaches now moving in to try to get a surround and perhaps take down some of these SCVs. SCVs now being pulled away as those Mutalisks trying to avoid the javelin missiles of those Thors. Thor's able to shoo away those Mutalisks, but those Roaches now just running rampant. However, we do not have the burrow research yet. Roaches over here just getting torched by these Hellions, as these siege tanks now moving in and now going after the supply depots. If he's able to take down the armory, any additional Thors will be delayed for quite some time. And now sitting at 93/78 food, Mutalisks running head on into a group of 2 Thors. Thor's quickly able to snipe them down, and Tarson now seen at 87/62, maybe able to get off a couple more quick kills, calling in supply drops for more supply, but I wouldn't have done that until the supply, until those Roaches were taken down. Otherwise, 16 food could have been lost off of that one building. Now in comes some Zerglings. Zerglings perhaps trying to do some sort of run by, and now Zerglings will be able to just simply swarm and take down this Thor over here, simply catching this one Thor out of position, and things are not looking good. A very nice pickup by the medevac. Stay tuned for part 2 of this replay between MadFrog and Tarson here on Blistering Sands.